Hopefully you have one of these books in your hands. I wonder sometimes, my friends, just where exactly is God? Do you wonder sometimes? Do you wonder just where is God in the midst of this mess that is going on? Oh, I'm sure from time to time that question comes up. Whether it has to be with injustice that is going on in your own life or in somebody else's life. Whether it has to do with suffering, right? Physical suffering, emotional suffering. Whether it has to do with something that seems grossly unfair. You might even call it evil. And you might wonder, so where is God? The psalmist laments. About a third of the psalms are called laments, and they are verse upon verse of somebody standing somewhere and wondering, where are you? God, where are you? Have you wondered from time to time where you are? Where God is in the midst of your life? Joseph must have wondered where God was. Must have at some point. The other day at small group, story group, we sat right here and somebody asked the question, well, what happened to Jacob? He tells this lie and we seem to just go on. What happened to Jacob with this lie that he told, and what came of it? Well, today we're going to look at how part of that lie that Jacob told to steal his brother Esau's blessing from their father Isaac, how that lie played out in Jacob's own life. Of course, Jacob himself was tricked. Remember, if you know the story, when he goes to his uncle's and he works for 7 years thinking that he's going to marry Rachel, and he is lied to. Remember? And he is tricked. Now he has to work for 21 years before he finally marries Rachel. And then for the time that he is there, Laban tricks him back and forth about his wages. Tricking. Now he has 12 sons. Jacob has 12 sons. He has a favorite son. His name is Joseph. And as I told the children, he gave his son Joseph a special robe, which of course made all his brothers love him, right? Wrong. No, they couldn't stand him. So one day, scripture says that I'm going to give you a page number here to turn to really quickly. Are you in chapter 3? We are supposed to be in chapter 3. I'm in chapter 2. I'm a little bit behind. I thought I had a bookmark right on chapter 3. Sorry about that. There we go. Chapter 3. Okay. So one day, their father Jacob sends Joseph, go out there in the field and check on your brothers. They are watching the sheep. Bottom, very last line of the first page of chapter 3. They saw him coming and they said, here comes what? The dreamer. They said to each other, come now, let us kill him and throw him into one of these cisterns, one of these wells, and say that a ferocious animal devoured him. Then we will see what comes of his dreams. Do you see the lie there? So already we are seeing how this deception comes up again and again. So now Jacob is going to be tricked by his children. So they decided, well, we're not going to kill him. You know what? Let's not kill him. So they are going to hold on to him, and instead they're going to sell him into slavery. So they throw him into a well for a little while. It happened to be a dry well, thank the Lord. And he's down there, and where is God while Joseph was down there in the well? The Lord was with Joseph. Let's say that together. The Lord was with Joseph. He's in the well looking up. The sky is pretty small, if you can imagine it. So while they're trying to sort out what to do, here comes a group of merchants. They are on their way to Egypt. And they are going to sell spices. And somebody decides, hey, this is a wonderful idea. Let's not kill our brother. Let's just sell him into slavery. That's a little better. So they're going to sell him into slavery. They flag down the caravan, and it turns out, 1, 2, 3. Third paragraph. As they sat down to eat their meal, they looked up and saw a caravan of what? Ishmaelites coming from Gilead. Ishmaelites. You might miss that. It's amazing what God does. Ishmael, you remember Ishmael? You remember Ishmael? Ishmael was the son of Abraham and Hagar, the slave from Egypt. Ishmael was the one who was sent away from the home of Abraham and Sarah because he was not the son of promise. It turns out God wasn't quite done with Ishmael. It's amazing what God does. Sent away into the desert. God was not done with Ishmael. Now the descendants of Ishmael will be the one who take Joseph to Egypt. It's just, who could have written the book? It's amazing. It's amazing. So, of course, they say, sure, that's a good deal. So they buy Joseph and they take him to Egypt. In Egypt, he is sold into the home of Potiphar, who is one of the generals of Pharaoh. Joseph is in slavery, and where is the Lord while Joseph is in slavery? The Lord was with Joseph. In Potiphar's home, he gets into trouble a little bit with the lady of the house, and he is lied about, and his integrity questioned. He is thrown into jail. And while he's in jail, where is the Lord? The Lord is with Joseph. I want to pause here and say something about God's blessing and God's favor. When we talk about God being with someone, that you have God's blessing on you, that you have God's favor on you. I want you to notice that in the life of Joseph, it does not mean that everything is perfect. In the life of Joseph, it means that you are going to spend some time in jail. It means your brothers are going to betray you and sell you away. Well, the Lord bless you, yes. Remember the greeting that the angel Gabriel gave to Mary when he showed up in the New Testament? Mary, favored of God, blessed of God. What did that mean? I just want to highlight that for you, because being blessed and favored of God means that God's hand is upon you to accomplish something in God's purposes eventually. It doesn't mean a cakewalk. Protection from all diseases, all betrayal of all kinds. Just, the Lord is with me. Watch it now. Can't touch me. No, that's not what it means. But it does mean that God is working in and through you to accomplish something. And knowing that God is with you is the encouragement to hang in there. To hang in there. You know the rest of the story, of course. Joseph eventually is released from jail only because Pharaoh had a dream. Pharaoh could not interpret his dream, and the cupbearer The cupbearer is the person who is a wine taster for the king. You know, kings don't just drink their own wine. Somebody's got to taste it. Somebody's got to put their life on the line for the king because they were poisoned a lot. So the cupbearer, it was that trusted person who tasted the king's wine before the king drank it. And when Pharaoh had this dream and couldn't make heads or tails of it, the cupbearer who used to be in jail with Joseph remembered, oh yes, about 3 years ago, I remember I was in jail with Joseph, and you know, that guy is gifted. Let's bring him up, shave him up, clean him up, and maybe he can help interpret Pharaoh's dream. And that's how Joseph came out of jail. And when he comes out, he tells Pharaoh, Pharaoh, I cannot explain your dream, but perhaps God can. And he explains it. Of course, he is put into a position of leadership. And his brothers eventually come. And they do bow down to Joseph. My bottom line today is that the Lord was with Joseph throughout. What does that mean? Psalm 139 says, you can't go anywhere that the Lord is not present. You can go under the sea, you can go over to the moon. There isn't a place you can go that the Lord is not present. So what does it mean? If God is everywhere, what does it mean to say that the Lord was uniquely with Joseph and that God is uniquely with you? What does it mean? I've already alluded to it. There's a sense in which you and I participate in God's purposes. And it's not just a light thing to say that the Lord is with someone. And that you partner with God in what God is trying to accomplish. And sometimes it takes years. Sometimes it takes generations. It may be after you're dead and gone. But God saying, this is my purpose. I'm working on it. People are making decisions. They will do all sorts of things. But I'm working on it towards my good end. Question is, do you believe it? When it gets difficult, do you believe it? That God is with me? Because if you do, then you have the courage to put one foot in front of the other because God isn't done yet. Even in jail, God was with Joseph. In slavery, God was with Joseph. When he was forgotten, God was with Joseph. When his brothers finally came and bowed down, God was with Joseph. Would you believe that God is with you? Not only in the mountaintop, riding on the chariot with Pharaoh, commanding all sorts of powers, but also in the jail. There too, God was with Joseph. And God is with you too. If you remember that, if you hold on to that, then we can manage that one step at a time, the day to day. Some will be pleasant, yes. Some not so pleasant yet. Some will be joyful, yes. Some painful, yes. But God is with you by promise. Will you hold on to that? Let's pray.